My name's Ian Ossing, and this is Friday Night Shudder 10th weekly episode spectacular, yo! So we're coming off the biggest event in Friday Night Shudder history, Och Dee's Halloween. And I just want to say again, I'm so thankful to everyone who's listened and heard it. And I think it's one of the coolest things I've ever done. I had an amazing time watching it and commentating along with it, and I feel really jazzed. So jazzed, in fact, that this episode, which was meant to be Grave Encounters 2, Anti-Monitor vs. Necron, has been pushed back a week because it dawned on me that this is the 10th weekly episode, and I figure it's time that we do a spectacle on that. Why not? You know, you want to get big, you have to think big, and I'm thinking big today. Unfortunately, that means that this is going to be one of those crazy episodes of podcasts which is almost entirely improvised, which is not necessarily the best thing on planet. I have a couple of ideas, but past that point, I'm just going to talk and wax lyrical. So, first topic of business is this is the 10th weekly episode, and I've covered a fair bit through this point. Watched a lot of terrible movies. I've watched a couple of good movies, and I figure it's worth just discussing what I have watched and doing some analysis of the episodes in question. Starting with episode 1, Zombie Flesh Eaters. So this is kind of retrospective for a while now, but Zombie Flesh Eaters is one of my favourite horror movies. I really like it. I particularly enjoy it, and I found the experience of watching it live and doing commentary for the first episode to be quite a daunting experience. I don't think it's quite what I intended it to be, because I think that was learning kinks. Obviously, that and episode 2 VHS were before I really got in the vibe of doing an hour a week rather than 2 hours or so. And so a lot of it is sort of trial and error, because I can talk about movies all day, but talking on camera or on podcast about them can be quite exhausting. Because it's not just saying things to say things, in some ways it is, but you have to be funny, witty, clever, articulate and all of that, and to be honest, I'm rarely all of those things at the same time. But the point I'm trying to make is Zombie Flesh Eaters as a pilot is not necessarily representative of what I wanted the show to be, or what the show was going to become. It was just, I need to do this, what can I do? As people will know, in the early episodes I made a few jokes about Bay, and I am going to watch the Bay at some point. But that was originally going to be my first episode. I have a notebook for pages of recap I did. And I fully believe that with being a decent episode, but it was taking so long to do because it was so much hard work. And a lot of time when you try and do a first episode of a podcast or something to that end, you're really focusing on too much, overthinking it. In life, when you overthink anything creative, you go down the opposite road that you want. As I just put, overthink. You're giving it too much thought. Creative works do require thought, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, you know, your instincts are usually right. Or if they're not right, then you can learn from them and improve. And with the first episode, I was tempted to do Bay, but then I thought, I really need to do something I can talk about for a long time and just put something out. And I did, and that was Zombie Flesh Eaters, and I just like it. It's still got most hits of any episode. It's up to 42 as of today, 1st of November. But yeah, I think it's pretty good. You know, would change a bit. I think something like that set the template for like the specials, and it was a big thing to start with. But I feel now it could probably be shortened. You'd probably get all of those talking points in an hour, and probably in a bit more concise way. There are points I didn't read the recap aspect justice, because as you're live reacting and not making notes and not condensing or editing really. But at the same time, it got most hits. So I have to assume that a lot of people saw that, and that's the sort of thing they prefer from a podcast. So I was pleased with it. I feel like it could use some work. I don't think all jokes land. But next one, VHS, I feel none of the jokes land. I have to be honest, I'm not enamoured with any of the VHS trilogy, VHS 2 or VHS 3. because I think I still try and find what podcast was, and it's only the VHS 3 one I really started doing the you got to stick to an hour week thing. Also does help, I think watching those movies critically kind of hurts them a bit. And also I find VHS 2's review, my problem with that really is more that like I said, I hadn't found my rhythm, so that's more of a 25-minute one rather than anything. And it doesn't really pop the way I wanted it to. It's more my memories watching it, which is fine, but that should be a segment rather than the whole entree. And it's kind of lets the side down a bit, I think. VHS, I think it's just not as much fun to watch as Zombie Flesh Eaters, and I don't think it's as much fun to follow along with. VHS 2 is probably one which could have benefited from live episode, actually, because it's quite a strange movie, especially the Japanese section in the school. Be perfect for a live one, and at some point I'm going to go back and rewatch that. That's probably far down the line, like when get patrons set up and all of that you do that as I do that as a bonus feature. At the moment, I don't really feel like I should be doing that. Yeah, so I feel like that was a pretty good one. I'm just sort of trying to come to grips with my exact feelings on that episode, but on those episodes. But I feel like none of them were bad per se, but they just don't work where I wanted. Another one that doesn't really work where I wanted is City of the Living Dead. I had great time watching it. That's the first bottle episode. And official bar episode. I had great time watching it, but it just didn't match up Zombie Flesh Eaters, and I feel like I watched it too early. The trick with these things is you're meant to stretch these out. If you're doing a special series on, for example, Lucio Fulci, there should be a gap between them. VHS worked in close proximity because it is a trilogy of sorts. But City of the Living Dead and Zombie Flesh Eaters aren't really. I also feel like it's a movie which would be better watched with people and reacting with people. Because it's not very good, but it's very strange. I was trying to hit the feel I had watching Zombie Flesh Eaters, but I don't think I recovered it because honestly, it's not as good. Some Flesh Eaters has a weird charm to it. City of the Living Dead, I suppose, kind of does, but it's misleading because it's not really a zombie movie. And it also doesn't really have a coherent plot. Some Flesh Eaters doesn't really have plot either, but has decent characters and atmosphere. I would say music in City of the Living Dead is very good, but the overall movie, I think, struggles a bit. Then we come to episode 5, American Psycho, and this was one where I really realised that how I was doing things was working to an extent, but at the same time, American Psycho was not leading itself to a recap, because it's a very genuinely good movie. First arguably good movie I'd watched out of all of them. And the problem with watching good movies, you have to put extra work into making jokes, because American Psycho is genuinely funny. And also really, really clever, tightly written, brilliantly acted, and very satirical and dark at the same time. It's delving into human psyche. And the flaw there is that it's just, unless you put work in, it's not a movie which really stands up to that. No? So it was difficult to make jokes about it because I was generally engrossed in the movie, but also wasn't weird enough to be odd. In a sort of quaint way, I guess. So I had to scramble to fill out an episode on that because I determined at that point that all my weekly episodes should be about 50 minutes long at least. And that's where I came up with one of my favourite features, the reading of the American Psycho chapter. And I generally feel like that's one of the coolest things I've done to date. That was actually an idea by a really cool podcast who I was speaking to, who mentioned about the awesomeness of that weird chapter. And that is, of course, the Boys Now We're Talking podcast. And I can't say enough about these guys. The support they've given us today is just mind-blowing. And I'll give them enough shout-out when I get to the Green Inferno episode, because they point out a bunch of songs I could use in between. If you listen on Anchor, you'll hear them. If you don't listen on Anchor, I'll describe them. But I can't wait for that episode, because they gave me a list of very Cannibal-like songs. So, and Green Inferno also is carrying on Zombie Flesh Eaters themes. That'll be good. Yeah, and then you get episode 6, Love Witch, and I really like this one. I think it's possibly, I wouldn't say the best weekly episode, because I think another one coming up is better, but the Love Witch gave me so much material. And also, it's weird because it's a funny, weird movie, but it's also really good. So it covers the two aspects. You can poke fun at it, but movie's got such a quality to it that you're sort of laughing with it rather than at it. Very strange, esoteric movie, but fantastic movie. Like, generally recommended. I would say go out and not just watch Love Witch on Shudder, but buy it, because it's a really good movie. And also it gave me a chance to poke fun at jesters, because I hate jesters. The arseholes of the entertainment universe. It's complete douchebags. From there, it's sort of difficult really, because I mean, a lot of these episodes, I view them a bit differently to other people, I think, where I can be a bit, I wouldn't say more harsh, because I think people can be harsh in general, but I would say I view them differently than a lot of people did. I'm sure the favourite episodes of lots of people are not my favourite episodes, for example. I have my own personal favourite ones, but the next one I did was FNS Limitless Venom, which is like a substitute. It's not a weekly episode, it's a sporadic feature coming up where I would use my Limitless Odeon card, go see a movie, and I saw Venom. And I'll be going next week to see Overlord, and I'll do a Friday Night Show Limitless on that. In a few weeks, I'll be going to see Fantastic Beasts 2, Crimes of Grindelwald. Technically, it's got horror aspects, so do one for those. It's only going to be movies with a vague horror fantasy theme. If it's comic book ones, I'm not really doing them. Venom technically is a horror comic book movie in sort. But I really like Venom. And I really like the fact that it's a short episode, because I didn't really want to spend an hour talking about Venom, because it's a good, I enjoyed it, but it's meant to be a one-off sort of thing that gets people into the feel of podcasts, I guess. It's like some other podcasts will do Patreon exclusive content. They'll throw out one or two on their public podcast accounts to get new listeners. And I was trying to do the same thing, but with FNF Limitless. I thought this might get some people interested in podcasts. And it sort of did. But... And then Audition Live-ish, the second bottle episode. This is a tough one, because I like Audition. I don't like this episode particularly. I feel like I feel my sense was I was being a bit cruel to Audition. Like, it's not intrinsically a bad movie or a bad horror movie. It's just a fundamental problem with Audition is it's boring. Nothing really happens, and when it does start happening, and it's just not, I just didn't find it particularly entertaining. I mean, I just tried, but it wasn't vibing for me the way it should. And I think maybe it would be better if I stick more episodes of ones I've watched before. But then you'll miss out on the reaction part. And part of the fun is me live watching, never having seen it before, and you catching my reactions on podcasts, because that's interesting. Following up, that was episode 7 of weekly ones, Rose Leslie's Honeymoon. I like that one. You know, I don't think Honeymoon's a very good movie, but I think the stupidity of twists and the bizarre non sequiturs the characters exchanged made for a fun episode. Because it didn't seem at the start like it was going to be a weird horror movie, but it got really strange, and then it got really, really bizarre, and then the ending was just like, what is going on? Like, I recommend that episode to listen to, because you get me at my most exasperated. But on the flip side, I feel ones like that you struggle hit the hour. That one's 48 minutes, for example, on the general podcast. So you struggle hit the hour, and so I can't re-rate that too highly in terms of effectiveness as a weekly episode, but in terms of entertainment, I think it's very good. Now here comes to my favourite one, episode 8, Friday Night Shudder 101, in which I recap my life, Friday Night Shudder, and future goals for the podcast. And that it's getting more hits, but didn't get most hits. That's kind of disappointing, because I think that's the best so far. I think, you don't try to make art, make stuff like this, and I hesitate to call that art per se, but I poured my heart and soul into that. It's the most personal thing I've ever done in any form of writing. And I feel like I could spend ages talking about the episode. I'm not going to, but I could. But it just really struck me that this is ideally at the very best of this podcast. That's what I'll hear again. And at some point I'll do Friday Night Shadow 1 or 2. But on top of that, the reason for doing that was because I knew Och Dee's Halloween was coming up, and I wanted to do some episodes where I didn't have to watch a full movie, because, that takes a long time to watch a movie, pause, make notes, watch, pause, make notes. It takes ages. And I don't always have ages. I work 9 to 5, 5 days a week. My weekends are busy. I don't always have time to... I'll get an episode out every week, like this one, for example. But I don't always have time to make sure that it's quite the same as it used to be. Hence, a couple of episodes aren't really recaps of a Shudder property in general terms, but are more encapsulations of what I'm feeling, what I want this podcast to be, or sometimes just making shit up, or celebrating this podcast, because I think that's important at times. So I think Friday Night Shudder, I exposed myself quite a lot, and I feel better after. I feel like a weight's been lifted off my shoulders. And then that weight came back when I did Grave Encounters last week, which, Jesus Christ, I'm sorry, Grave Encounters was a mess. That's a mistake. And Grave Encounters 2 is proving to be a mistake, because I have no enthusiasm to do it. Even making up the Antimonster versus Necron stuff. Grave Encounters, I got to the end on Thursday, and I had cold, and I was feeling poorly. I sound like I've got permanent cold, I know that. But I was feeling really poorly, and it just struck me that I need to get this done. Because also I was watching a movie of Mate later on, which turned out to be a piece of shit called Torrent. Piece of fucking dog shit. Rubbish movie. I blacked out what happened in it. So I had to make up the ending of Grave Encounters because I was so bored. And I won't say it's condemnation for the movie in general, because I think no matter what I watched that night, I wasn't going to be into it. But I think I ran out of time. And also I knew I had Och Dee's Halloween to do, so I needed to get that done. So Grave Encounters, I think the ending part where I just start making shit up is really entertaining. But the gist of it, I think I didn't have much to work with. And then comes Och Dee's Halloween. And what more can I say about this than I'm gobsmacked that I pulled that off. I'm still recovering, as you can hear. I've had a tiring week at work. I'm drained. I wasn't able to do Grave Encounters 2, Necron vs. Antimonster. Hopefully that'll be next week. But I was able to make that special, and I'm just like, it just hits you so hard, like you spend all your life saying I can do this, and then give it a try and you succeed. And whether you like it or not, I fucking did it. Like, I'm giddy as shit about that. But I'm sure it's paying for it now. So that's like my encapsulation for the first 10 weeks of the podcast in terms of episodes, weekly episodes. And I think it's time to do something slightly different. So I will see you in a few seconds for the next part of 10th weekly episode spectacular. So what I'm going to do right now for the 10th week episode spectacular is I'm going to, why not? I'm going to do something different. I'm going to read the first issue of Blackest Night, the DC Comics Green Lantern crossover crisis event. Why? Because why not? We're all having fun, something a bit different. So here goes. I'm going to load up on Comixology, and we're going to have some fun reading that. I love comic books, by the way, and also I love the fact that this is quite possibly going to be the weirdest 10th episode spectacular anyone's ever seen, because I'm sure at this point you're thinking, what does Blackest Night, the amazing comic by DC, have to do with Shudder? Nothing really, but it's my podcast and I want to celebrate 10 weeks, so screw it. We're going to sit and read this and you're going to enjoy it. There was darkness. as we see darkness. Then there was light, and the war between them began. When a dying alien gave me a ring of green willpower, it became my job to brighten the blackest corners of space as we see green light exploding black. Recently, that's gone a little more complicated. I was a kid when I learned about the spectrum of colours. Anyone over the age of 3 knows it. There's a bunch of colours explode in space: green, yellow, blue, pink, orange and red. ROYGBIV. I didn't pay attention to it. I was never an artist. I was just a guy trying to prove he wasn't afraid of anything. Or anyone, as we see an angel statue that looks very ominous. I suppose that's meant to symbolise Hal Jordan's Hal's douchebag. Oh, well, no, it's the graves of Thomas and Martha Wayne. Ooh, twist. My name is Hal Jordan. I'm an officer of the Green Lantern Corps, Space Sector 2814. No matter how brightly I shine my light today, the shadows won't be lifted. Hal stood in graveyard, wearing his Green Lantern costume, with green energies floating around him. He's towering over that angelic statue of Thomas Wayne, by the way. That's very douchey of Hal Jordan. Bruce Wayne, says Hal. Batman. Flashback to the Justice League. Superman, Wonder Woman holding back Batman, who's also being hit by Flash, who's holding back Green Lantern, and Martian Manhunter's Aquaman bouncing background. Batman. I'm not threatening you, Jordan. I'm telling you, the next time you give away my position growing like a damn lightning bug, I'm going to put that ring where it won't shine. It's not my fault hiding in shadows is your only superpower. Aquaman. Another reason I prefer being underwater. Less shouting. And then image of Superman carrying dead Batman from Final Crisis, with the caption, Batman is dead. Clearly. How? Says Barry Allen. I can't stay long as he bursts in the frame. Hal starts to say it's so, but Flash speaks too quickly. I picked up more chatter on my police scanner. Hal tries saying it's okay again. Barry cuts him off. With no bat signal lighting up the sky, even common scum in Gotham were fiercely coming out into the night. Hal, it's okay, Barry. Barry Allen, too much to do. This is it? No funeral? No speeches? Alfred said he didn't want one. Well, his grave's not even marked. They needed to distance Batman's death with Bruce Wayne's, Barry. They haven't publicly proclaimed him dead, and Robin's insisting that Bruce isn't really gone. Barry's kneeling by a grave now. He's holding on to hope. That's what Dick always gave Batman. Dick gave Batman so much. Hal realises Barry hasn't remembered the last 10 years of DC continuity at this point. I meant Tim Drake, Barry. You haven't met him yet. He's the current Robin. Barry looks very sad. Right. Tim Drake. I feel the same way, Barry. Barry looks up at Hal. I like him already. He's a very bad liar. Has anyone told you what kind of service you had back when you lost to Speed Force? Well, I haven't had time to ask. We see an image of Green Lantern constructs showing F1 who attended Barry's funeral. You packed the house, Barry. People came from everywhere, I dooming everywhere. The far future, parallel worlds, super intelligent gorillas. Yes, gorillas are super intelligent in DC. It's the exact opposite of mine. When I was infected by parallax, driven mad with fear, and they thought I was dead, my tombstone's desecrated not by my enemies, by old allies. Allies. I died a singer. You died a saint. Hal really is a douchebag. That's my point, replies Barry. Death isn't necessarily the end. Not in this line of work. You, me, Clark, Ollie. My father, your mother, replies Hal. They never came back, no matter how hard we want them to. I'm sure there's a story where they did come back, Hal. Something's probably the door open, says Barry. There's a bigger force at work, that much I believe. And if there's an escape, you can bet Batman's already planning it. Batman always had a plan. We see a flashback of Justice League fighting Amazo. Martian Manhunter is trying to hold Amazo back. Superman's being pounded into the floor by Amazo. Amazo's firing laser beam, heat vision. Hal is blocking it with his Green Lantern shield, construct shield. Wonder Woman's trying to murder Amazo with lasso of truth, and Aquaman's giving her a hand. And Batman's going for a Superman kick. We'll figure out when we get there, Batman asks sarcastically. Being optimist for once, Batman. We're the Justice League, replies Hal. We're untouchable, he replies. He says in flashback. Hal reveals Batman was hit by Darkseid's Omega beams. Superman has this skeleton in his arms and they buried him right here. I'm using the emphasis because those lines are in bold. Everything changed when you disappeared, Barry. The weight got more dangerous, our lives more deadly. The Justice League wasn't untouchable anymore. Arthur Curry, Aquaman, he was killed after spending months trapped in some kind of mutated state. Show a flashback, Batman floating at sea. There are rumours of his resurfacing during Darkseid's attack. But they were just that, rumours. Basically Jeff Johns' way of saying, yeah, Atman's not back yet, I'm going to bring him back at the end of this event. John Johns, stupid name by the way, Martian Manhunter, we see an image of him being murdered by Libra in Fine Crisis. He was murdered by Darkseid's followers. He was stabbed through the heart with a flaming sword. He's buried on Mars. The heart and soul of Justice League is gone. And now so is Bruce, says Hal. I may not have talked with him late into the night about forensics and criminal psychology like you, ... We had our differences, plenty of them, ... But after all said and done, ... Flashback. You saw him die in front of you, asks Hal. Batman says yes. I didn't know. When I was a kid, Batman replies, you watched the plane crash take your father's life. Hal. No wonder we're both screwed up. Batman, speak for yourself. That's quite fun. Bruce was my friend, replies Hal in present, as he's flying and Flash is running. They're my friends too, Hal, and I won't stop hoping that they'll find their way back. Like you and I did, as an ominous stranger watches from the background. Yes, this one. He reaches into Earth and pulls out a skeleton. As we get to the Blackest Night, and we see tombstone of Sue Dearborn Dibney and Ralph Dibney, who DC 50 and literally murdered. Falls from the skies as we see a scarred hand with a black ring on it. Hawkman and Hawkgirl flying through the air of the atom. The darkness grows as all the light dies as we see a pair of eyes with the Black Lantern logo appearing in them. Seeing image of Ronnie Raymond's grave, the better of two minds. We grave your hearts and your demise as we see the skull of Thomas Wayne. Or Batman. My Black Hand, the dead shall rise to see Black Hand. With Black Lantern ring and also Bruce Wayne's skeleton head. And we see an image of the Scar, the Rogue, Owen, Guardian, blue looking motherfucking background looking ominous. And that is an exclusive. That is Black Lantern Episode 0. And I thought, why not do that for the 10th celebration? It's also a smug shout out to my future comic series. So there you go. That's part of the celebrations. And now it's time for something new. Something I do feel is quite cool to talk about on this 10th week episode spectacular is my 10 favourite horror movies, because, you know, why not? Or even favourite, most enjoyable, because a lot of these aren't technically good movies and there's a lot I'm leaving out, you know, because horror is such a flexible genre, but these are the ones I've enjoyed personally the most. Number 10, Blair Witch Project 2, by which I mean Book of Shadows, and trust me, I'm getting to that in the episode, and I think it's going to be if not my masterpiece, one of my best episodes because I love that movie. The first one is dealing with the fear of the unknown and being lost, and Blair Witch Project 2 Book of Shadows deals with the fear of the mind, of your mind playing tricks on you, and that's something which actually resonates a lot more with me than getting lost, because to get lost you have to go camping and stuff like that in an environment you've never seen before, where you're relying on maps and shit like that. Blair Witch Project 2 hits me harder because, you know, your mind can play tricks on you. You don't necessarily know that what you're seeing is real. And that's very disturbing because, I mean, we've all had too much to drink and seen things that weren't there and stuff like that. And, I mean, I also think it's nice because it's a bit schlockier than Blair Witch. Blair Witch is trying to be more of an art house classy horror movie, and Blair Witch Project 2 has more of that VHS trashy vibe to it, replete with the naked dancing, the borderline exploitation aspects of it, the way that characters are just really undeveloped, but given to the actors to make something out of. So you get some really weird moments where your acting choices don't make sense. Because there's more of a script than there was for Blair Witch, but there's a lot of creative leeway, I guess you could say. And just generally, I find it so weird. It feels like a movie ripped in half and then put back together out of sequence. Because there's a lot of parts of it which don't make sense, because of where it's constructed. But I really enjoy it, and it's one I can rewatch fairly often. And I can't wait to do a review of it at some point. That's coming up in the near future. It'll be a while, but it's on the list. And also, I like the fact that unlike Blair Witch, once stuff happens, it's not entirely left up to your imagination. I know a lot of people enjoy watching movies and filling in gaps, but between this podcast and writing, I'm trying to get a script book done and work. I don't really want to connect the dots of shitty movies. I want the dots to be there, I have to do work making your movie work. Your movie sucks. And not that Blair Witch 2 is a classic, but it's one I do really enjoy watching. Number 9, VHS 2. It really goes my episode for specifics, but the fact that I was able to get 25 minutes just out of my recollections of the movie is quite a promising sign, I think. VHS 2 is a lot trashier than the first one. It commits to the gimmick more. It's very upfront about what it is. And it's just a fun movie. Some of the segments are really gross and over the top, but there's a lot more consistency tonally than the first one. That one seemed to be a throw at wall and see what sticks. This seemed to be, we're going to give these movies proper directors with decent budgets and see what happens. And what happened was more of a grindhouse movie than grindhouse, I guess you could say. It's a really good vibe to it. It feels like something you could watch in a sleazy drive-through, but made for the modern age. The best segment is the one co-directed by Gareth Evans, the one in the school, which is just mesmerising, brilliant, and also genuinely creepy. Although I really like the one with the guy in the eye camera. I thought that's pretty cool, and I thought the final one, the one with the zombie cyclists, was disgusting, amazing to watch on big TV. And the one with the kids in some party was generally pretty creepy too. Probably the most tense alien sort of invasion story I've seen since Signs. So that's good. Number 8 is Pieces, and what can I say about Pieces that hasn't already been said? One of the most fun movie experiences I've ever had watching Pieces in the Abattoir Horror Festival in Aberystwyth. Because I didn't know what it was, or I knew it was a Grindhouse movie, but I didn't know specifics. Before the movie, they showed us a bunch of trashy Grindhouse trailers, sort of the slutty babysitter and stuff like that. They seem to make a lot of Grindhouse movies about slutty babysitters, but this one in particular was the movie Pieces. It was just a masterpiece, and it's so nice watching it and not watching it with someone droning over top of it. Which is kind of weird to say, really, because I'm droning over top of a lot of stuff, but at the same time, I hope you enjoy it, because I'm not trying to be a smug douchebag for no reason. I'm just trying to make entertain. And if I don't have anything to say, I'll shut up till I have something to say, and we can just watch the movie in peace and bottom episodes, But Pieces is a masterpiece. It is one of the most fun horror movies I've ever seen. And it's a shame because I've watched Slugs, which was made by the same director, and it's just not as good. Like, he struck, a bit like Lucio Fulci. The guy who directed Pieces struck gold for that movie. It's wonderful exploitation trash, is the best way to describe it. It has a really funny mystery, full of red herrings that don't make any sense. One of the key aspects of the movie is a character who you never see after the first scene and never directly referenced again. The murder mystery is ludicrous, and there can only be one suspect given the context of it and when the opening flashback takes place. It's really violent and over the top and really silly. Has an amazing sequence cameo which is stunningly racist, and it's stunningly out of place, but the sheer randomness of it is hilarious. because you're just watching and thinking, what possessed you to do this, you know? And at the same time, in Wendell, it has one of those classic characters from a 1980s slasher movie, which does not seem to operate in any stretch of reality. A college student who's given temporary sheriff status or deputised by a police officer. Because, of course, why wouldn't you deputise fucking loser named Wendell? Number 7's Friday 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. One of my favourite slasher movies of all time. Actually, it's in my top 3. Really, really, really good, fun movie. Probably the sharpest Friday 13th script, which I know you're probably thinking, well, that doesn't really say much, but in this case, it does. It's a very, very good script. It's a bit of a murder mystery like Pieces. Kind of falls apart because they do the same trickery with who killer is. Because, you know, it's a twist on you expecting Jason, and the movie subverts that bit. But it's really good. It has my favourite new character in the entire series, Roy, who, Christ, I've spent many a Friday 13th game session playing as Roy. And it's just so much fun trying to educate people on who Roy is, because everyone's forgot. And also, it came out the year I was born, so that's a plus. 1985 represent. And it's also strange. It's got a very David Lynch vibe, which is kind of odd, because it came out before Blue Velvet did. So it kind of predates Lynch in that regard, but it's really odd. And it's just got a bunch of characters who they let the actors go wild. And it's the first time really in franchise that there's a lot of characterization, and not all of it's good, but it feels like it's heading more down that vibe of, generally being an enjoyable horror movie, but also doing something different. This Friday 13th under Sean Cunningham wasn't afraid to investigate a fair bit. You know, this was turned into murder mystery, and it had slasher elements, but there's a lot of mystery to it. It wasn't in the original, wasn't in any of them since the first one. So that's good. Number 6 is a tie. It's A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 and 3. I say tie because Part 2, with its weird homoeroticism that they claim was unintentional, but come on. I did a review of it once, and I have to get that out because it cracked me up. And was actually precursor to this podcast. But I really enjoyed Part 2 because it's so unintentionally hilarious, but so much fun. Using Fred as an analogy for someone fighting to not come out of the closet, even if it's unintentional analogy, it's really great. And it's just so weird, so bizarre, so unintentionally hilarious. But yeah, it's a really good movie nowadays. Like to watch. I really enjoy watching it because it's so bizarre. And after A Nightmare on Elm Street, they just went straight the opposite direction. And most horror movies kind of feature the same lead character over the first couple of movies, and Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is a completely different bunch of characters. And then Part 3, which is actually co-written by Frank Darabont, is just an awesome movie. Like, first Nightmare on Elm Street's good. I went to see it in Prince Charles Cinema in London not too long ago, and that was an amazing experience. But third one, it's just, wow. So good. So much fun to watch. Clearly a movie about making movies to an extent, or at least a passion for cinema. In feel of it, because it's got a lot of really cool reinvention. The stuff with Nancy leading the Dream Warriors, it's so cool. Such a clever idea. And gave the franchise new life, because Part 2 was, I love Part 2, but that almost murdered the franchise stone dead. And Part 3 brings Nancy back and introduces people who use the dream as a weapon against Freddy, which is such a great idea, and really gave franchise new life. I mean, how else would you have gotten Power Glove episode without that? And on any 10 favourite horror movies list, you need Friday 13th, A Nightmare on Elm Street, and Halloween. You need them. Number 5 is Zombie Flesh Eaters, and that's just, I love that movie. I love it, and I would probably do a couple more episodes on it. And I'll definitely at some point do an episode of Zombie Flesh Eaters too, which I've never seen, but really want to see. Zombie Flesh Eaters is strange because in theory it shouldn't be high up on anyone's list because it's trashy, exploitative, there's no real character, plot or arts. There's a loose plot, but in terms of what characters go through, there's no real change. And it's anchored by a very British performance by an actor who didn't really want to be in the movie, but puts heart and soul into it anyway. So it should work, but the special effects are stunning. The music is unbelievable. The timing of shots, the aesthetic, the tone, the way zombies are lit, the tension created by zombies, the way they use that. The only downside is that the actors looking at zombies for an inordinate amount of time before they get murdered gets really old quickly. But Zombie Flesh Eaters is so much fun. I love it and I'll defend it to the end days. Number 4 is fucking Event Horizon, which is the movie on the list of movies I've watched the most. I love Event Horizon. I love the feel of it. I love the tone. I love the fact that it's funny, genuinely laugh out loud funny, and then creepy and funny. The design of the ship, you can completely believe that cast did not want to stay on set for that ship that design for more than possible because it's fucked up. Someone with messed up imagination came up with that design. Just everything about it. It's a wonderful, trashy, exploitative but fun movie. So fun. The special effects have aged a bit badly, but the plot and the acting and the atmosphere just... You can watch it and be entertained, but also repulsed at the same time. And special credit has to go to the actors, because Sam Neill and Lawrence Fishburne put their heart and soul into it. Even Jolie Richardson does the same. But even supporting characters are all great. Like, they all have life, they all have vitality. They feel like real crew on a ship interacting with each other. So yeah, I really like Event Horizon. I feel like it's a movie which is stigmatised a bit, but it really shows that Paul Anderson, not P.T. Anderson, Paul Anderson is a really good director. Does a really, really good job. And I like him. I think he makes fun movies. I think this is probably the best one he did. But he's hitting points in this where it feels like best alien movie since Aliens. Alien 3 can fuck right off. Number 3, Evil Dead 2. I don't know what more you can say about Evil Dead 2. Wonderfully funny, inventive. The camera angles are stunning. Raimi and Camp worked their career best in terms of making an entertainingly bizarre movie. The iconicness of scenes such as the inanimate objects laughing at Ash, the projector blood running down the projector screen, the jokes about Men at Arms, the Brother Arms even, the Holly Hunter, the very British recordings from Professor, the Hillbilly Family, the demons, the flying fat demons, and the ending, just everything. It's just great horror movie, really fun. And I mean, just to go from Evil Dead, which actually people mock it, but it can't be said enough. Evil Dead's a really serious movie. Might be a few fun elements, but it's played straight and it's really, really got good tension to it. And just so much fun. And I'm getting to this list. I'm raising at number 3, and I haven't mentioned Scream yet. Scream, unfortunately, because I've done this list, it doesn't work on any other parts. So I'm going to put Scream at 2.5. Scream is a fucking beast of a movie. It is so good, so sharp, such a great script. Career best performances from everyone involved. Wes Craven destroying genre again. That man, I can't give Wes Craven enough props, by the way. A Nightmare on Elm Street's brilliant. Classic. But Scream, he was in obscurity. He didn't want to make horror movies anymore, but they talked him into it. And he fucking hit a home run. And why Weinstein Brothers didn't fuck off and leave him and Kevin Williamson alone to make sequels, I'll never know. But what do you expect with those two, They're given props for so much. And The best successes are ones that have nothing to do with. Ones where you just fuck off and let directors get on with it. They're scumbags through and through for so many reasons. And so many things more important than movies, I understand they're scum. But even if you tried saying, well, at least they know how to make movies, they were monsters who pushed people around. Stories like Turn West Graven, he couldn't use that mask for Scream. And it's sort of like, because, they don't know what they're talking about. They're just bullies. They always were bullies. And their best successes were stuff like Tarantino movies, where he didn't back down to them. He made the movie he wanted to make, and it was a success in spite of them, rather than because of them. So Scream's perfection. Sequels aren't quite as good, but the first one is such a great script. Number 2, Halloween, which is just... I just did write this Halloween, and I think you could tell while listening to that, if you have heard it, my passion for the original Halloween. I love that movie. It's wonderful, stunning, fantastic movie. But go listen to this Halloween. Don't listen to me ramble about it more about that. And number 1, Dawn of the Dead, the Romero one. I love that movie. I have all my regrets in life. I regret not being able to say George Romero, because I think all horror fans who love that movie, I just love to say to them, how did you do that? And thank him, because it's an unbelievable movie. It's just, wow, I can't say enough good things. Dawn of the Dead, the Romero version, is just, it blows my mind. It's just, he took zombies and a limited budget and made one of my favourite. It feels like a blockbuster. It really does. But then it slows the fuck down and just really hits home. That opening bit with the news studio and reporting, I'm a writer. I don't know how you write that. I don't know how you write something like that or direct it and make it seem that genuinely stunning to watch. Mind blown. Some omissions, Silence of the Lambs. I'll put it this way. I fucking love Michael Mann's Manhunter. I think it's amazing. I think Silence of the Lambs is fantastic. I really like Red Dragon. If I could put TV shows into my favourite horror movies list, I know I can't. If could, I'd put Hannibal TV series. And by the way, that new Netflix one, The Haunted House on whatever it's called, calling that first great horror series. Okay, firstly, it's not. There's plenty of horror series which came out before that. But it's not even best modern one. That's Hannibal. Flat out. Hannibal is one of the best TV series I've ever seen. And I think you'd have to go far way in topping that. Because, at the moment, I'm watching a lot of Hannibal TV series, and it's freaking me out, but blowing my mind in the best way. And let's just say, if Shudder have got that, I'd probably do an episode a week until I finished it. Speaking of, announcement I'm going to make is, at some point, I'm going to start doing Shudder TV series. Because I feel like I'm really enjoying movies, but and who knows, maybe it'll be from next week. I really want to do something different. I like the movies, but I feel like it'd be nice to take a break and do some TV show recaps, because you got to keep going. Like, there's enough stuff on Shudder. There's loads of stuff I want to watch, but TV shows can sometimes be a bit easier to recap and a bit more funnier, while also keeping consistency. So I might start that from next week. I'm not going to confirm that I'm doing Grave Encounters 2, although I will do that at some point. I'm going to have to look through Shudder and see what TV shows they've got and decide whether I want to do one of those. Anyway, that's my top 10. And now, time for something completely different. So I'm just looking on Shudder app, and it dawned on me they have a Shudder exclusive series called Black Lake, which is 8 episodes long and described as remote and neglected. Black Lake's been closed for years. Joanne invites his friends there on a test trip with the idea of reopening the resort. And they assume, I guess, it's ambushed, I guess. Yeah, I think that sounds cool. It's got a mystery vibe to it. Actually, I'll read the first episode. A group of friends travel to an abandoned ski lodge. Han hears strange sounds coming from the basement and becomes suspicious. It's 42 minutes. I think that would be something to do for next week, actually. Maybe watch one episode, maybe watch a couple of episodes. But that's going to be what I'm going to plan to do. I'm going to watch Black Lake first 2 episodes for next week and do a recap. And we'll go from there. Maybe for the next sort of 8 or so weeks until I get to... Because that roughly take me through to the next special A Christmas on Elm Street. Yeah, why not? We're going to do that. Black Lake is going to be my next one for the next 8 or so weeks. So, or maybe 4 weeks, because I'm trying to do 2 episodes a week, unless one episode gives me that much content. So this has been 10th week episode of Friday Night Shudder. I'd like to thank you for listening. I'm aware that it wasn't quite as Shudder themed as usual, but you can't win them all. And yeah, wow, 10 episodes. Holy shit. Here's to 90 more, eh? Next milestone is 25. And then 15 and 100. So we will do 25th weekly episode special in 15 weeks. Seeing Austin signing off from Friday Night Shudder. Tune in next week for Black Lake episode 1 and 2. And remember, life is beautiful.